right, with that, let's reset everything, why don't we, including the relations between South Africa and the United States, because President Cyril Ramaphosa is set to arrive in Washington, D.C. within the next couple of hours in what has been dubbed a high-stakes meeting with his U.S. counterpart, Donald Trump. Now, the two heads of state will meet face-to-face for the first time since Trump's return to the Oval Office in January this year. Trump has cast his eye firmly on South Africa for its participation in taking Israel to the International Court of Justice. Now, the U.S. president has also taken aim at Pretoria's Expropriation Act, maintaining that there is a white genocide and land is being confiscated from white farmers. At the same time, last week, the Trump administration received 49 white Afrikaners under the expedited refugee program. Senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo is just outside the White House and joins us now. Then, relations couldn't be more sour between the two nations, but this is meant to be the great reset. What are the prospects from those that you have spoken to?
Absolutely, and the relationship is at its all-time low since 1994, and probably President Cyril Ramaphosa hoping to invoke the spirit of Madiba as he goes into that discussion with Donald Trump. We've also received confirmation that the special envoy to this country, Mcebisi Jonas, is also one of those who will form part of that delegation, which includes DIRCO Minister Ronald Lamola Parkstau from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, Khumbudzo Ntshabeni, the Minister in the Presidency, and of course John Steenhuisen, the Minister of Agriculture. What takes place in the building behind me is going to be crucial in those reset efforts, Arabile. What needs to happen? What kind of trump cards, excuse the pun, will President Cyril Ramaphosa have to play in order to be able to assist with those relations? Is it going to be about trade? Is that what it's going to hinge on with all the megaphone diplomacy that South Africa has been subjected to? Is it going to be about explaining yet again, but the only difference being face-to-face, those transformation laws, and having someone like John Steenhuisen being able to also clarify issues such as our Expropriation Act? Steenhuisen just saying a couple of days ago that those 49 Afrikaners who arrived here in the United States have made a big mistake. So there's a lot at stake here. However, many are also saying that Ramaphosa should not enter this meeting almost on a weak footing. There's lots to talk about, and how legislation such as AGOA is mutually beneficial for both the United States and South Africa. So really, South Africa's sovereignty being key to these discussions, but also maybe being able to play on some of the weaknesses of Trump domestically here in the United States, whether you're talking about within his own Republican Party, and how he seems to be losing a lot of support there. But even in terms of the state of the economy here in the United States, what is he going to be able to do to be able to assist in that regard? So plenty of discussions expected to get underway here, and a lot of behind-the-scenes work expected to be done by that delegation, which is arriving in dribs and drabs. Arabile.
Yeah, an expectant crowd will certainly be gathering here for just exactly how President Cyril Ramaphosa may be going at this. Ziyanda, I don't know if I can ask you then as well, excuse me, with the Agriculture Minister, John Steenhuisen, also in attendance, does this really point towards that agriculture aspect being the key conversation to be had here as well? The likes of AGOA, of course, having been of keen interest. Is that kind of the sentiment that we perhaps could be seeing?
Well, the Agriculture Department is just but one component. You'll know that Trump has spoken about our case at the International Court of Justice against Israel and the genocide that is being perpetrated there. There's also the issue of, the Bella Act that they've spoken about and the influence of Elon Musk. So we really at this stage can't say for sure what exactly Donald Trump wants from South Africa. Suffice to say that we have definitely captured the attention of Trump, and it will be important for President Cyril Ramaphosa to leverage on that attention that he's given to South Africa, perhaps confirming that South Africa still has somewhat of a big brother status on the African continent, and it being the gateway to the African continent. If you just look, at our oceans economy, there's lots to talk about in that regard. So it won't just be on one minister. There's still issues such as Starlink, which Pakstawu will become a key component in discussing, especially when you see, if you realize our employment equity laws, which of course have also been challenged by the Democratic Alliance as well. So, I mean, there's lots that would need to be discussed, and not just the agriculture aspect, but of course, we cannot deny that perhaps, Steenhuisen being a white man who is heading up the agriculture department might precisely be what might win over Donald Trump's administration, given how even here, journalists are questioning whether or not this expedited refugee status that's been granted to the 49 Afrikaners is not, underpinned by their race, and not necessarily this falsehood that South Africa is waging out a genocide and confiscating land.
Ziyanda, the presidents are only set to meet then on the 21st. That's on Wednesday. Do we know what else is on the itinerary before that, perhaps?
Well, at this stage, we don't actually have a sense of the program, except for the fact that the two heads of state are meeting on Wednesday. It's understood that when President Ramaphosa arrives in a couple of hours, he will then be fully appraised by his ministers and get a briefing from the officials who advanced to the United States about the status of the program. We are at the behest of Donald Trump's government in terms of the program and who they will get to meet from the side of the United States when it comes to those meetings and what the agenda will be of these particular gatherings. So I'm sure in a couple of hours we'll get a better picture of what's to be discussed and how far these discussions will go. But it will be critical for someone like Mcebisi Jonas to be introduced to this administration, as he is going to be a special envoy here with the specific scope that will be outlined to him. And perhaps unlike with Ibrahim Rasool, who it took quite some time to actually break down those barriers and have doors open for him, once this introduction is done, it will be much easier to actually continue where Rasool left off.
Very significant and very important journey here as well. Ziyanda, appreciate that reporting then, of course, live outside the White House in Washington, D.C. there, our senior politics reporter, Ziyanda Ngcobo.